Casting Sports Presentation.
The Portland Trailblazers spent the past 3 seasons establishing themselves as one of the true elite powers of the NBA. After 2 trips to the finals, all that remained undone was capturing the elusive title. After 8 straight wins began the new campaign, some believe that 93 might be the year. But later, injuries plagued the starting lineup and inconsistent play followed, culminating in a mid-January loss to the Lakers. The alarm having sounded, the Blazers reeled off an impressive 6-game winning streak, only to be followed by off-court distractions. And in the past 2 weeks, 4 straight losses, 3 at home, 2 to expansion teams. Now, despite boasting one of the league's best records, the aggressive, up-tempo Blazer basketball has been absent. The fire, the emotion, the fun, all seemingly replaced by confusion and frustration. The challenge now might once again be the quest for greatness and what it will take to win it all. Will this new wake-up call be answered? Stay tuned for the next chapter. Live from the LA Sports Arena, the Blazers meet the Clippers.
The Oregon Trail and the Trailblazers, a name carved from its history. Many Native Americans were encountered on the Oregon Trail: Pawnee, Sioux, Nez Perce, Umatilla, Cayuse, and Walla Walla. Those trailblazers soon found that the Indians were very helpful, if not necessary, to their survival, and trade soon developed. When they reached the Blue Mountains, members of the Cayuse tribe showed them the way over those mountains to the Whitman Mission. And those pioneers were forever grateful for the help the Indians gave them along the Oregon Trail. Walking 2,000 miles of unforgiving terrain alongside an ox-drawn wagon is almost beyond our imagination. Yet those trailblazers of 150 years ago did so with a grit and determination to reach their goal. The land of promise, a land of plenty, Oregon. Trailblazers basketball is brought to you by your area BP station. BP, on the move throughout Oregon. By Cellular One, the nation's largest cellular company. Imagine no limits. By the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. By Coca-Cola Classic, you can't beat the real thing. By Payless Drugstore, the drugstore worth talking about. And by GTE. GTE, proud sponsors of the Trailblazers. George Wash is the executive producer and director of Trailblazer basketball, and J.R. Hellman is the coordinating producer.
Basketball fans, wherever you may be, it's the Los Angeles Clippers and the Portland Trailblazers here in Southern California. Now, as far as the Blazers are concerned, there's only one important thing: get their game back in gear. Can they do it, Steve?
Certainly can. They come in a must-win situation, but what's most important for the Trailblazers tonight is to get a good start. You go back and you look at the last 4 ball games, they have been climbing uphill and at the end of each and every quarter, and you cannot allow a team to have a spot all the time and think you're going to be able to pull yourself out.
Now, as far as the Los Angeles Clippers are concerned, they've been in a state of funk, if you will. What about them?
Well, you know, the Clippers are in kind of the same situation as the Trailblazers in this regard. This ball game is a big one. They just come off of 2 huge losses. They've got to have a win. It could change the way that their season goes. They're thinking about the playoffs, and they could make a bigger run with a win starting tonight.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is a story to be told here tonight. We hope you stay with us. It's Portland and the Los Angeles Clippers, NBA basketball. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We are live this Friday night here at the Sports Arena in Los Angeles, California. NBA basketball, the Clippers and the Portland Trailblazers. Well, you all know, ladies and gentlemen, what the Trailblazers must do. They must get their game back in order and come up with a victory or two to sort of turn it around, if you will. Now, head coach Rick Alleman. Prior to the game, we had a chance to hear some reaction from the head man himself. Where is your team right now, Rick?
Well, it's been a distraction. I don't think there's ever an excuse for losing games. You can't point at one situation, but what's happened in the last 2 weeks has definitely been a factor in the way we played, and it's caused a lot of negative feelings around the team, and the guys have lost a little bit of focus and attention to detail that we need to have. We hope that's past us, and with the situation resolved, that we can go on.
Now, as far as the Los Angeles Clippers and the Blazers are concerned, keys to tonight's ballgame.
This is a big game for both teams, and if you looked at the Portland Trailblazers, the one thing you'd have to say is move, move, move. Don't become a stagnant basketball team. When they're active, they're a very difficult team to handle at both ends of the floor, and that's what they're going to try to concentrate on tonight. The Los Angeles Clippers, they've got to have an aggressive defense. This is a team that seems to be lax at critical times on the defensive end, and the real key is turnovers, and both teams have to be able to create turnovers and get cheap baskets out of it.
If you take this part of the year, Steve, and you look at both these ball clubs, it might be too early to use the word must, but they're pretty big wins for either team if they're able to come up with them.
Well, it's a must in the way that their seasons are going at the point. Both of them on a spiral downward. The Trailblazers certainly the better team and want to put themselves back in a challenging position, not only for the best record in the conference, but to win the division. The Los Angeles Clippers are a team that want to improve on their playoff position, and so they need a win, and the Clippers have been beaten soundly by 2 red-hot teams the last times out, the Phoenix Suns and San Antonio, so they want to come back with a good effort.
Another head coach here in Southern California who's been on the edge a little bit. He's the head man of the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's find out what he says about his team.
As of the moment, well, we were playing really well until we went on this road trip and ran into San Antonio and Phoenix, 2 teams that are just playing great basketball. So it's been a struggle. We didn't play well on the road, and not having Kenny Norman really hurt us because he matches up pretty well against Barkley. You know, at least he makes it tough for Charles. I don't think anybody can stop the guy. And he plays Sean Elliott about as well as anybody will play him. And we didn't have him, and that really hurt us.
The starting lineups for both ball clubs tonight. Trailblazers are sticking with that starting 5, Steve.
They're sticking what's been successful for them, but you want to really be watching this matchup, Williams and Manning. Danny Manning usually plays down low, and John Williams, even though he is starting and beginning to get part of his game back, he's not going to be the guy that they look to score a lot of the points. So you, at some point in this game, you will see Buck Williams guarding Danny Manning down on the box.
NBA game, the Clippers in Portland. Have the Blazers found their game? Have they been able to get it back? Well, in the first period, they outscored the Clippers 27-16. But then the Clippers come on, outscore Portland 30-18, and lead by 1. And they were led by the 13 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 steals of Mark Jackson to get them back into it. So the Clippers have a 1-point lead at the half. But now, my friends, it's time for Mr. Mike Rice. You only have a minute or so, Mike. Go, baby.
This is the time of the year the general managers try to save their teams with trades, but not in Detroit. In Detroit, the players make the trade. Isaiah Thomas has been talking to the New York Knicks all last week. He wants Greg Anthony and Charles Oakley traded for himself. Detroit reminded Isaiah, we're way over the salary cap. It has to be player for player now. So what did Isaiah do? He got on the phone the next day. He called Charlotte and San Antonio. He's trying to get traded there now. I have the feeling that Isaiah Thomas doesn't want to be on that sinking ship in Detroit any longer. How difficult is it going to be for Rick Adelman to change that starting lineup? Well, Phil Jackson of the Bulls said it's our biggest challenge in knowing when to replace Bill Cartwright with Scott Williams, when to give up on key veteran players for younger ones. Chuck Daly said Chris Morris wasn't playing up to expectations. He's a starter. He went on the bench for 6 games. Change is good for everything, according to Chuck Daly. One of these days, Rick Adelman will have to change that starting lineup. It'll be a difficult decision. And finally, how about Drazen Petrovic? Not on the All-Star team. He's having his best season. He's averaging 23 points a game. He's shooting 50% from the three-point line, and he's even trying to play defense for Chuck Daly. How did he get left off the team? Well, Detroit did it again. They stuffed the ballot box the last day of the voting. They sent in 50,000 votes, putting Isaiah Thomas from 5th to 2nd, and it was Joe Dumars versus Drazen Petrovic for that last spot, and of course Drazen left out. Drazen, if you didn't make it this year, you never will. Coming up, a short historical vignette on women moving west on the Oregon Trail. And in addition, February is Black History Month, and our own Steve Jones tells us about blacks who were a big part of early Oregon history.
In celebration of the 150th.
Come on, outscoring Portland 30-18 and have a 1-point lead as we go to the second half.
Take a look at the leading scores, and somewhere Jerome Kersey is number 2 behind Clyde Drexler. Drexler had an outstanding first half. Danny Manning and Jackson with the big second quarter, and 10 was a spark plug in bringing them back. Leading rebounders, Portland doing it by committee with Williams and Drexler, and Mark Jackson again leading on the boards for the Clippers. The percentages, the Trailblazers were shooting very well at the end of one, but it was the Clippers defense that made a difference, and really that is the difference in this ball game. And it was hustling play for the Trailblazers that really marked their first period of play. They were the aggressors and kept the pressure on, but in the second quarter of play, it was a turnaround, and it was Mark Jackson leading the way. Nice loud pass to a high-flying Ron Harper.
So, the storyline of tonight's ball game for both ball clubs, Steve. They got to play better basketball.
Well, both teams have been aggressive. Through the first quarter was the Portland Trailblazers in the second quarter. Aggressiveness certainly is going to make a difference. Both teams moved and were active, and they got the appropriate response. Now we'll find out which team plays the best final 24 minutes.
Ball game tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 111-104. They started off strong, and they wound up the game strong, scoring 43 points in the fourth period and win the game. Same two teams Sunday in Portland. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Miller Brewing Company wants you to think when you drink.
Trailblazers basketball has been brought to you by Fred Meyer. Values for your time and money. You'll find it at Fred Meyer. By Alaska Airlines, rated best in the U.S. by frequent travelers. By ODS Health Plan, partners in sickness and in health. By Bank of America, proud sponsors of the Trailblazers. Banking on America, Bank of America. By Miller Genuine Draft, it's cold filter. Get out of the old, get into the cold. And by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. information on how you can join in the celebration of the Oregon Trail's 150th anniversary, call this number.
Now, the Trailblazer postgame show. Tonight's postgame show is brought to you by your local Chevy Geo dealer, the Portland Trailblazers, and the Chevy S10 Blazer, two proven winners. And by True Value Hardware. You can do it with True Value Hardware Store.
When you win, you're supposed to walk a lot faster. Your steps seem to be just as heavy. Let's talk about the difference in the ball game, because it was a first and a fourth in which the Trailblazers were the aggressors. What happened in 2 and 3?
Well, I think we came out, you know, we talked about the Clippers before the game, that they are a team of spurts, especially when they run their break in spurts. And they had one of those spurts in the second quarter. We didn't get back in transition defense, and they were the aggressors, and that really caused us problems because we knew it was coming. We didn't do anything about it. And I thought the fourth quarter was probably one of the most aggressive quarters we've had in a while. Even when we didn't have a fast break, we pushed the ball down quickly. We got into our half-court offense quickly, and we were the aggressors. We created things. We got to the basket, and it was really a good quarter for us.
Well, see, winning makes you talk faster, and we know that Mark Jackson had you worried. Were you concerned about Jackson, his penetration and finding open people when it looked like they had control of the game?
Well, we were, because they were making such a quick push down the floor. We were not matched up, and we didn't get to people. Consequently, they had us on our heels a little bit, and we are trying to stop the break, and we're not getting 5 people back. He's really good at getting in the paint, and he's really good at either finishing or finding people.
We had a phenomenal game, and I know that all of you have to feel better now that the losing streak is over and you got a chance to play the same team. What will you try to do different on Sunday afternoon?
Well, I think the thing we need to do is to be a little more consistent from the start of the game. We came out, I thought, and played a good first quarter, and we want to remember those spurts, and if we can stop those spurts and play a good solid defense, we're going to be okay. And we don't want to let them get going and get in the open floor as much as they were tonight.
All right, John Wetzel, a winner tonight, finally. We'll be back with a look at highlights and stats.
My stomach is bothering me, though, but I'm happy for this win. We definitely needed the win. We didn't want to go home with a loss in the column. We're going to hopefully build momentum from this. And we have them again Sunday, and they're a tough team, and we have to be ready for them again.
Well, you played a big role down the stretch. It certainly was a big putback for you, a couple of free throws, and more than anything else, you saw some other people get fouls called against them.
Oh, yeah, the fouls were going around today, and it felt bad. It felt real good, but, you know, I concentrated on the foul line, hit some 2 shots, felt comfortable, and, you know, we passed the ball around so well towards the end, and we played great defense. Danny Manny's a great player. We put Buck on him, helped him out a lot, and then I think that hurt him a lot.
All right, well, Mark, we'll let you go. We'll take a look at some highlights and certainly feel better. You got a couple of days to get that stomach right.
All right.
The Trailblazers, of course, have to think about 2 parts of this ball game, and that is the first and the fourth, and being able to maintain that kind of energy throughout. Mark Jackson was a huge factor in this ball game with his passing, his driving, his shot selection was outstanding. Portland had some good interior defense down the stretch when they needed it. Drexler's job, along with Terry Porter, was to try to find a way to keep him in the ball game, and they did it in a variety of ways, inside and out, with Drexler taking the ball to the hoop and Terry Porter knocking a lot of three-point field goals down. Mark Jackson, this time in the second half, has a solo he doesn't miss. But in that third quarter of play, it seemed as though the Clippers had found a rhythm and could do no wrong. They were able to get cutters going to the hoop. They were able to make good defensive plays. And as Danny Manning picked the pocket of Drexler, you see his reaction because he knew he had a chance to push the lead. But Portland steadied and really began to find ways to hurt the defensive presence of the Clippers. They beat the double team early. That was a huge put back by Mark Bryant, and that really made the difference. Portland wins the ball game by 7. We'll be back to take a look at the numbers right after this.
Fourth period, that was terrific.
They did a tremendous job of getting back in the ball game, and they forced the Clippers to feel some pressure down the stretch in a situation where both teams had to win. Both teams responded. You see the leading scorers, the backcourt for Portland, Drexler and Porter, Robinson and Strickland off the bench. Robinson struggled but stayed with it down the stretch to come up with 4 big points to keep Portland on the lead. You can't say enough about the games of Manning and Jackson, who were both terrific, and it seemed like that would be enough to get them a win. Harper and Roberts also outstanding. Buck Williams, the leading rebounder for Portland, to surpass Drexler, who was the leading rebounder at the half. Where was Mark Jackson on the board tonight? Everywhere. He had 9. Danny Manning had 10. So the big difference in this ball game, and you can say it for the Clippers, you got to make your free throws.
You better believe it.
They were not able to get it done at the line. Portland was, and so they come out winners. Turnovers didn't hurt Portland or the Clippers as much.
Same 2 teams. Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, on Blazer Cable. The game is at 5 o'clock. Pre-game cable show at 4:30. To order your pay-per-view, call your local cable company and be with us. Well, they had a great beginning and a great finish, and most important, the W.
Yeah, you sound a lot like John Wetzel. Your voice is a little bit higher now. Say good night.
Good night, Steve. Nice win for the Trailblazers tonight. So, from the sports arena in Los Angeles, California, wherever you may be, Bill Shanley. Good night, everybody.
Pull it together tonight, and that losing streak is history. Blazers showing signs early that this streak is going to end. It's Clyde getting it going. Buck feeds him. Clyde has the range for 3. Blazers off to the lead. You know it's going well when Kersey finds the range for 3 points. Jerome does it, though. Blazers up 11 after the first quarter. But things change. Lester Connor with the pass. He's now a Clipper. Finds Mark Jackson, who scoops up a double, and the Clippers make 7 straight shots. On the run, Jackson with the pass. Ron Harper with the jam. Clippers taken over. They lead it at the half. Drexler in foul trouble, but still makes a sweet move in the open court. Clyde, 32 points in the game, 9 rebounds. Danny Manning, though, not easily stopped tonight. Pins Clyde down low. Jackson finds him. Easy basket for the Clippers. Then look at Manning's defense. Strips it from Drexler. Beats him the other way. Lays it in. Clyde gets his 5th foul. Manning scores 35 points. Blazers in some trouble, but Porter coming through. He launches a 3. It's good. Portland down, but not out. Mark Bryant playing in crunch time. Adds some energy, some defense, and 2 points on the pick and roll. The Blazers make all the right moves in the final 6 minutes of play. They win it, and they will meet the Clippers again on Sunday, 111-104, the final tonight. Porter had been the highest vote getter left off the team when the coaches picked the reserves earlier this week. So the tough luck continues for Mitch Richmond. Not only does he play for Sacramento, but a fractured right thumb suffered last night keeps him from his first All-Star game. Richmond, number 2, will come from screen right and reach in to hack at the ball. He gets the foul, a broken thumb, and now a missed chance to visit the Crossroads Mall on All-Star weekend. Well, we all know they call Robert Parrish the chief. We just never knew what was in that peace pipe. Parrish now facing a March 3rd arraignment date on charges of drug possession after cops found marijuana in his home and in a package addressed to him. Parrish was asked tonight if the changes will affect his role on the Celtics team.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think so. I don't anticipate it being a problem. Time will tell. All right? Thank you.
Interesting how people thought Parrish would be a good role model for Allah Abdelnaby after Allah was busted for pot in Milwaukee and then traded to the Celtics. Well, Michael...
The bounce, the bucket, and the foul. First quarter kind of went back and forth. Drexler on the break to Buck Williams. He lays it in. It was 19-16 at that point. Clippers on top. Danny Manning burned the Blazers for 35 points on Friday night. Tonight, he had 22 to lead him, 29-27. Clippers after 1. Points were hard to come by. Rod Strickland led everyone tonight for the Blazers with 16, but you have to get more than 16 from your leading scorer. Clippers with 17 offensive boards tonight. Loy Vaught, the slam right there. You got to box him out. Clyde Drexler, 32 the other night, but a quiet 14 points tonight on 6 of 16 shooting. Hits the jumper right there. The Blazers were down by 1 at the half. In the third quarter, the Clippers stretched the lead to 12 points. Ron Harper hits the jumper for 2 of his 21. The Blazers make a run to get back in it first. Strickland to Drexler or Strickland to Ellie. He had 10 points off the bench tonight. Then it's Clyde following up Cliff Robinson's miss. Nice little tip right here, but the Blazers couldn't keep it together in the fourth period. They shoot only 37% for the game. The Clippers win it 96-86, the final.
Look good. Nothing look good right now.
Something seems to be missing out there, huh?
Yeah, something. You know what it is? Help me out.
You know what it is?
I don't know. I guess, you know, we're not playing hard enough. Intensity level, not moving the ball, not spacing the court. It's a lot of things. Pick one.
What do you think's the problem?
Once again, if I had that answer, it wouldn't be a 4-game at-home losing streak right now.
Don't see the players asking us the questions too often. By now, some of you may have heard the rumors of a Clyde Drexler trade. NBC reported today that the Clippers and Blazers were talking about a Clyde Drexler for Danny Manning deal. Again, I want to reiterate that it is only a rumor. Nonetheless, we did ask Clyde what he thought about such talk.
No control, no comment. I really can't control those things, so I really don't have much to say about them. It's not what I prefer to spend my time thinking about. If it happens, it happens. If not, fine. But I've been traded 6 times since I've been here, so that makes 7.
I don't know what you're talking about, to tell you the truth. I just heard rumors myself, so I don't know how I can comment on a rumor.
There you go. As if the Blazers need anything else to think about, Tracy Murray, who was in the midst of a 3-game suspension, issued a statement today, or at least his family did on his behalf, criticizing the team for the actions it took against Murray. Murray's agent said he thought the Blazers handled the matter, quote, terribly. Not a good way to score points with your team, that is. Orlando beat New York today in 3 overs.
First the game. The Blazers beat the Clippers in Los Angeles on Friday. They were trying to make it 2 in a row tonight at the Coliseum. Clyde Drexler with a fancy move here. He had 14 points, but the Clippers were the aggressive ones tonight at the Coliseum. Ron Harper misses, but works hard on the boards and gets the rebound, and he scores. He had 21. Then watch inside. They go to Stanley Roberts. Monster jam with the right hand. Clippers by 1 at halftime, 48-47. The Blazers shot 36.8% from the field. They miss here, and then it's a Clipper break, and again it's Roberts with the jam, and he's fouled. The Clippers led by 10 late in the ball game. Blazers, though, cut it to 6 in this hoop by Rod Strickland. He had 16. But Danny Manning and the Clippers took control down the stretch. Manning at 22 points. The Clippers win at 96-86. The Blazers have lost 5 of their last 6 and 4 in a row at home.
We absolutely didn't play well. I mean, there's absolutely no excuse to come out with an effort like that. It wasn't shooting percentage. It was just the way we played.
I mean, we're not playing well. It's obvious. It's painfully obvious, you know. We just had to pick up the pieces and try to get it back together.
As I mentioned, trade rumors are flying, and they apparently were started by USA Today sports writer Peter Vesey. Vesey is on before NBA games on NBC, and he mentioned this morning that the Blazers were talking with the Clippers about a possible trade involving Clyde Drexler and Danny Manning. Jeff Petrie, Blazers Senior Vice President for Operations, called the report a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. Tonight I talked with Clyde and Manning.
No control, no comment. I really can't control those things, so I really don't have much to say about them. It's not what I prefer to spend my time thinking about.
Is that the first time
it happens. If not, fine. But I've been traded 6 times since I've been here, so that makes 7.
Can't worry about it because trade rumors are a part of this game, a part of professional athletics, and you have to go out and you have to perform. We're all professionals, and we have to go out and do the best we can night in and night out.
Meanwhile, the family of Blazers forward Tracy Murray issued a statement today that severely criticizes the Blazers for the fine and suspension they gave Murray. Murray and fellow rookie Dave Johnson were fined and suspended for 3 games without pay for their alleged involvement in a sex scandal last month in Utah. Murray's family was critical of the Blazers, naming Murray after the Salt Lake County authorities declined to do so. Now, the family said in part today that inexplicably the Trailblazers decided to play investigator, judge, jury, and executioner by penalizing our young son and others who had just been exonerated in Salt Lake City. Murray is appealing the fine and suspension through the NBA Players Association. Well, Orlando Magic rookie Shaquille O'Neal went head-to-head with Knicks veteran Patrick Ewing this morning on national TV, and it was a good one.
Wednesday hugs and kisses for the Blazers. They drop another stink bomb in the Coliseum, shooting just 36% from the field in a 10-point loss to the LA Clippers. That's 4 consecutive home losses for Portland, the most since 1988. The Blazers took a whipping from Big Stanley Roberts off the inbounds play. Big Stanley is manly on the stuff. Close game in the first half. Clyde Drexler to the bucket. 10 first-half points for Clyde, and the Blazers trailed by 1 at halftime. Clipper coach Larry Brown had lots of fun in the third quarter. L.A. enjoying a 17-2 binge. Mark Jackson caused problems with 14 points and 8 assists. The baseline jumper here. Ron Harper was big in that stretch. He burned Portland for 21 points. A three-pointer on this play. The lead was 12, and the pad grew to 14. Stanley Roberts again. The spin and the in-your-face. Roberts with 20 points and 7 rebounds. Great baseline move. Portland cut the lead to 8 after 3 quarters. Mario Elie with 3 of his 10 points to beat the Buzzers, 76-68. With 5 minutes left in the game, Rod Strickland drives for the bucket, and that makes it a 6-point game. But that's it. L.A. takes control. Danny Manning with 6 of his 22 points down the stretch, and the Blazers lose 96-86.
L.A. just out-hustled us, just bottom line. When you get out-hustled and you miss layups, you miss easy opportunities, it's going to be a long night. And that's what it was.
Just didn't play, you know. We didn't play like we're capable of playing. We didn't play hard enough. You know, they outfought us, outplayed us.
And now to the rumors. Earlier today, NBC's NBA experts predicted a trade between the Clippers and the Blazers. Clyde Drexler for Danny Manning. Here's what we found out.
Everybody is talking to other teams, and these rumors get started, and all these things come around, and yeah, that's really all I would say.
It's the 5th time I've been traded since I've been here, and that makes 6. It's something I have no control of, so I don't spend much time thinking about it.
We shall see. The trading deadline is February 25th. Portland is 29-16 with a pair of home games coming up before next Sunday's All-Star game. A triple overtime game in Orlando, the Magic and the Knicks. Orlando's Nick Anderson sends the game to the first overtime with a 3-point jumper. In the first overtime, Patrick Ewing puts New York on top, 34 points, 14 rebounds for Ewing in his match with Shaquille O'Neal. At the end of the first overtime, game tied. O'Neal keeps it tied with one of his 9 blocked shots. And it's still tied after 2 overtimes to triple overtime. O'Neal scores 13 of his 21 points in the extra periods. With Ewing fouled out, this bucket ties the game at 100. And O'Neal scores the winning points, 102-100 in triple overtime. The Magic win it. The Knicks' 7-game winning streak is over. The Lakers hammer the Hawks by 39 points. Atlanta here in Portland on Tuesday. The Warriors wipe out the Bullets. The Nets get 34 points from ex-Blazer Drazen Petrovic and beat the Heat in overtime. And the Hornets handle the Pistons in Charlotte. The Winterhawks were at Seattle tonight trying to break a 3-game losing skid. They do it with plenty to spare. 2-on-1, Lane Rowland to Colin Foley, 3-0 Portland in the second period. 4 second-period goals break it open for the Hawks. John Baduke centers it, Foley nets it, and the Winterhawks win it. They blank Seattle 8-0. Portland is now 32-20-3. At the Daytona 500, a rough afternoon, lots of crashes and a few hot tempers. Al Unser Jr. was in his first ever Daytona. He collides with Bobby Hillin. They spin out of control, and Hillin ends up on the track. And that's when Kyle Petty gets a piece of the action. Petty and Hillin rush up, and both drivers end up out of the race. After they leave their cars, Petty gets a little physical. Then Rusty Wallace gets a little lucky. On lap 169 of the 200-lap race, he gets caught in a multi-car bang-up, and Wallace gets the worst of it. His car goes airborne and flips 5 times. Wallace's car disintegrates, fuel flying everywhere, but amazingly, Wallace was not hurt. Dale Jarrett wins the race on the final lap. Dale Earnhardt had led for most of the race, but Jarrett passes Earnhardt and wins the Daytona, and a check for $238,000.
NBC report the Blazers don't intend to trade Clyde to the Clippers for Danny Manning, but it was yet another distraction for the suffering outfit.
I think it's a lot of BS, but it's something that you have to put up with.
The Blazers ended practice with the old dead ball drill today, trying to bring humor to their gloomy predicament, but the only cure for the Blazers blues is winning. Now, on paper, it was the crummy game of the night, but the meat hosting the Nuggets turned out to be the best game of the night. Your dunk of the night by little Harold Miner. He says, in your face, baby, Miami by 3. Denver down 2 with 1 second left, and Mutombo with the miracle. I tell you, that shot clock operator in Miami's out of a job. They went to overtime and then a second overtime. Reggie Williams for the win, no good. Miami over Denver, 130-129 in double OT. What defense and hustle by the Bucks. John Barry against Charlotte. Barry had an open road for a slam dunk, but no. Barry booted it and went body surfing instead. Barry made up for it. He's the brother of OSU's Brett Barry. Barry steals and scores. The Bucks edge Charlotte 128 to 122. The Spurs beat the Clippers in Smogsville, and the mailman had 38 points but only 12 rebounds, and the Jazz win. Chicago and Cleveland were both winners in President's Day matinees. Hey, Waylon Boot made a rhyme. A career-high 18 for Barry, and the Bucks win, and Miami beats Denver. It wasn't such a crummy game after all.
Grown used to just was not there yesterday, and the Blazers lost by 10. Well, it's no secret the Blazers are in trouble because of this. Once again, they had a practice, a full-scale workout. They're tired of losing. And once again, referees and a scoreboard for the workout today. Rick Adelman watched, tried to get things going. For rumor mongers, the starters played together. No changes in that regular lineup. There's Buck. And at the end, Adelman opted to audition for some long-range shooting, something this team needs, with a three-point shooting competition for fun. And then this old dead ball drill, which brought something sorely lacking for the last couple of weeks, laughter and noise.
Yeah, the game is fun, and you got to try to remember that it is a game. At the same time, you want to go out and you want to play up to your potential. Yeah, I think we need to get back to that. I think over the last 4 games we lost just some of the spirit of the game, and I think it's so important when you play so many games to keep it fun and not take it too seriously, but you want to take it seriously enough to win ball games, and so far you just haven't been able to do that. So the environment has been kind of intense lately, and we need to get back to our winning ways.
Atlanta tomorrow. In L.A. tonight, the Clippers trying to...
They're not so hot right now, are they? Who do they think they are? The Blazers aren't the only powerhouse team from last year that has had problems regaining their dominance. The Chicago Bulls have lost more games this year than the Blazers have, and tonight they came into action with 3 injured starters. John Paxson, Horace Grant, and Bill Cartwright all missed today's game, but against the visiting Sacramento Kings, it hardly mattered. Look out for Muggsy Bogues. He thinks he's a bowling ball. Guy's a maniac. And look at Stanley Roberts run by and says, man, that is one ugly, ugly-looking tie. Michael Jordan didn't score in the entire first quarter, and then he started lighting them up. 20 points in the second quarter alone. Then the follow-up jam. Watch the D coming up by Scottie Pippen. A runaway layup. Looks like an easy 2, but Pippen blocks it. 119-101. Chicago wins despite being without 3 of their starters. The Bulls end a 2-game losing streak. In Los Angeles, the Clippers, fresh off the fanny kick in the game, the Blazers last night took on the sizzling San Antonio Spurs. Look at Stanley Roberts push David Robinson away and then slam it down with authority for the Spurs. The break, and this would put the finishing touches on the game. David Robinson dunks. The Spurs win another 102-99. These guys are red hot. Other action in the NBA. Utah over Minnesota. Malone had 38 big ones. Cleveland by 5 over Indiana. Milwaukee over Charlotte. Alonzo Mourning in a losing cause, 29 points, 6 blocks. Miami in double OT beats Denver by a point. And one thing from the weekend you should see, it's a testament to the amazing powers of concentration that NBA players possess. There was Charles Barkley at the line, poised to shoot free throws. When the chicken started trying to distract him with posters of bathing beauties, Charles did notice, he did laugh, he got a good chuckle. He also made both of the free throws, and the referee made the chicken put his bathing beauty pictures away. What a pro that Barkley is. As for the Blazers, they play at home tomorrow night against Dominique Wilkins and the Atlanta Hawks. Last night they were just plain bad again, and fans are starting to ask out loud if this is a team in need of a heart transplant. As Clyde Drexler put it, it's time to decide whether we're contenders or pretenders.
I just think we got a lot of different combinations, and in the past we've had the same people on the floor all the time. Now you have 2 or 3 guys who are in different positions, and the chemistry is not as good. And so when that happens, you're not going to be as successful. I think the confidence is shaken, and for good reason. I think it's up to us to get that back.
At practice today, Rick Adelman had the players do some drills aimed at getting the guys to loosen up and have a little fun. One theory has been that since the Salt Lake City allegations, the team has been on pins and needles, too tight to play the kind of ball they should be playing. One thing for sure, they better figure out something fast, because after the All-Star break, the Blazers play 17 of their next 23 games on the road. It doesn't get any easier.
Everyone is searching for a lot of magic. The magic, there's not really magic about the losing streak going. It's just that we just haven't defended very well. I think our energy level has been very low. We need to remain positive and make sure that we go out and play as a team and continue to move the basketball and allow good things to happen to us.
Well, it looks like we'll see Terry Porter in the three-point shootout after all. Terry was originally invited into the shootout but turned the offer down. Since that time, he has added to the Western Conference All-Star team. And when Dennis Scott was put on the injured list, Terry was asked again. This time he accepted. He is currently 10th in the league with 41% shooting from three-point land. The All-Star extravaganza is this coming weekend. Well, the rumor about Clyde Drexler being on the trading block can be traced to USA Today columnist Peter Vesey, who appeared on NBC's NBA Insiders program yesterday and started throwing out all sorts of wild Blazer news. Keep in mind, this is the same show that reported Jerome Kersey as being 30 pounds overweight a few weeks ago.
The biggest news that I found out is that they're trying to move Clyde Drexler. We're shopping him all over the league. There's been a lot of dissension among the troops the last couple of weeks. Clyde has gotten into it with some teammates. He wants the ball more. They are upset about his defense. Coach Adelin had to call every player in at the beginning of the week and talk to them individually. And the Clippers are the one team that have reached out for Clyde, talking about Danny Manning.
He said that the team was shopping Clyde around. Any truth?
That's definitely not true. There's no, basis to someone saying that we're shopping any of our players.
There you have it. Just a rumor? I think so.
Well, I think so,
You would
too.
think so, wouldn't you? I mean, come on. Clyde?
Thanks, Eric.
Don't go away. There's more to come on News 8.
And does this qualify as the most